Thinking Out Loud, TOL podcast.com. You know what this is, and you know who I am. It's your boy Jay Lip, and in the building I got the Mrs. Lip. How you doing, baby?
Blessed and highly favored as always.
Praise the God of gods. Thank you, Lord, we alive. Now, I want to ask you first and foremost, how are you feeling today regarding your special event?
Feeling really good. I was able to get all dolled up and get some headshots done, some pictures in my studio. I can't wait to get them back. I'm really excited.
Okay, all right, and that's what's
Yeah,
up. And
it's a good day.
as far as getting a little plug in, getting you a little shameless plug, where can they find you at on Instagram?
So you can always find me on Instagram at TL Yarncrafts. You can find me at TLYarncrafts.com. I actually just released some brand new merchandise, more patterns coming soon, and there's a blog launching next week.
Hmm, a
Yep.
blog launching. Okay.
Yeah, so you can find that at tlycblog.com. There'll be a
Mm.
link.
She
Links
break
all over the place.
all over the place. So as far as tonight goes, how are you feeling as far as jumping into these topics?
Hey, if you got them, I'm ready.
All
I'm
right.
ready.
So first off, this week we a little late. It's my fault. Technical difficulties. I ain't gonna say shit else about it, but we had a Philadelphia win on the Super Bowl, and there are a lot of people who are supposedly boycotting Kaepernick, or rather boycotting the NFL because of the Kaepernick situation, but
Sure.
yet they watch the NFL Super Bowl. How do you
hmm
feel about that?
Well, as one of the people who supported the boycott all season long, did not watch one game, not even a Lions game when I
You
could.
didn't?
I didn't watch one game, not a one. It was important to me to do my part on this issue. Now, I will say I did watch the Super Bowl because I am a football fan, and I feel like the Super Bowl, in a degree, is like set apart from the regular season. I don't know, and I'm sure some people are going to slam me for this. Like, if it's one NFL game, it's all of them. But
Yeah, yeah. And how do
the
you
the
defend
Super
that
Bowl,
though? How do you
well, the
defend
Super
that?
Bowl holds a very special place in my heart. Is something that I always experience with my father. It's been several years since I've been able to watch the Super Bowl with my dad, so I continue to do that to kind of carry that tradition on, even though we're not in the same place. So it was important to me to watch it. I'm glad that I did because it was a really, really good game, and the Eagles
Hmm.
won. It was about damn time. So I have no regrets for watching it. I'm sure that there are people who were all for the boycott all season and watch the Super Bowl. I don't shame them for it. I'm one of them, and that's just it's just how it went. I needed to watch that game. It was important to me.
I think we're both part of it, babe, because we both watched it together. Um, I will say this: as far as boycotting is concerned, there is a certain special person in my life, and I want to give him a special shout out. My brother, Levi Tripp. Levi, you say, and I quote, that it's not enough people to make the change when it comes to the boycott for it to even matter. And I want to throw that question to you, Mrs. Lip. Do you believe that the boycott even made a difference?
Um, you know what? I think the way that media works right now, every story gets a finite amount of time. Some stories are a little bit longer. Some stories have like recurring themes that they get their longer spotlight. I feel like the kneeling, Colin Kaepernick, the boycott kind of had its shine. Unfortunately, it's not really as widely discussed anymore. And I think when it comes to a boycott, um, instituting not only the media, but also, how dollars are spent is important in making sure that boycott has a impact. So
Okay.
unfortunately, by the time it got to the Super Bowl, I don't even recall there being much conversation about people being concerned about kneeling or people not watching because of a boycott. As far as I know, there weren't any dips in ratings when it came to the Super Bowl. So
That's true.
to this degree, I don't think that the boycott was successful. If the aim of the boycott was to get people to not watch the Super Bowl, then I'd say we failed. If the aim of the
Mm.
boycott was to get people discussing um, black players and how we're treated in the media and what we can do and use our platforms to have a voice about, then yeah, I would say it was successful. Colin Kaepernick had a his message had its time. We had those conversations. I think
Ooh.
through him and a lot of other movements in the we are more aware of how we spend our time and how we spend our dollars. And for the people who are, privy to these movements, we are being a lot more conscious with what we choose to put our support behind.
Okay, so at the end of the day, do you feel like we should continue to boycott into next season, or is it non-existent if you're going to go ahead and boycott the regular season but watch the Super Bowl and give them the most dollars they get?
Um, I'd be curious to see if there's anything to this boycott aside from just not watching the games. Like, I
Mm.
feel like there needs to be more to it. If it's just saying we should just never watch the NFL games again, what is the aim then?
Well, until Cap gets a spot. It's not just
But
until
I'm saying, so are we just not watching the game so this guy can get a job?
this guy,
What
Colin.
I'm saying, if that is all that this boycott boils down to, it could literally be anyone, and I'd be like, that's dumb. Get another job. But
Ooh,
if there is something else, if
talk
there
that.
is something else that we're trying, that the aim is, if we're actually moving towards something besides somebody just getting a job, like when it comes down to it, his movement started while he still had his job, and then over a series of events, he no longer has his job. So let's go back to the original intent. Let's go back to originally why we were kneeling and why we were paying attention in the first place. If it's really just to get his job back, then I would say this has fizzled down
But
to
I feel
something
like
a bit
But I
arbitrary.
feel like him getting his job back meant something. It meant we're saying that as a people, we're not satisfied with the industrial complex of chastising and penalizing someone for using their First Amendment right to have freedom of speech and really freedom of action to peacefully protest and take a knee.
Sure.
So I feel like
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we're basically with the protest saying that, you know what, I'm not going to watch this because y'all are telling us what to do. And then when we do watch it, we're like, all right, I get it.
This is my thought on it.
Go
Colin
ahead.
Kaepernick lost his job for let's say what it is. Colin Kaepernick lost his job because he took a stand by taking a knee. I'm totally on board with that. I definitely agree that he should get his job back, but it's been a long time since he lost his job.
Yeah.
There is no end of that in
Ugh.
sight.
Yeah.
So I think if we're going to continue with this movement of boycotting the NFL, I would almost challenge another NFL player to take a knee and take that on
Ooh,
his shoulders and
great
be
point.
bold enough to say, okay, didn't happen for Colin Kaepernick. I'm going to take the torch from here. I think it needs to become some kind of trend within the NFL to say, hey, we all feel this way and we're going to continue with this movement. Right now, it's at a point where Colin Kaepernick doesn't have a job, and that is terrible. But now what? What else
Now,
are we
I
doing with
will
this?
say there have been other players though. So just to make it clear, there have been other players,
That lost their
but
job?
no, that have taken a knee.
Yeah. Oh, of course. There have been a lot of other players that are taking a knee. But if we think about it, zero people at the Super Bowl took a knee. If there was ever a
Oh
time
no,
to
I
make a
read a
stand,
report that Justin Timberlake took a knee on the
okay, he's not a
NFL
football
flag.
player. He's not a football player. I'm talking about individuals
My
representing the
point about saying
NFL.
that. Hold on, my point about saying that is the fact that they cut away from that scene. So if
But
Justin
there's no
Timberlake,
job for for Justin Timberlake to lose. There's no job for him to lose. There's no institution
but
necessarily
isn't that
that is
interesting?
not going to
But
give him that is going to take his
babe,
job away. Also,
babe,
as a white male entertainer, he's at a completely different station in life.
babe, but
Unfortunately,
isn't
Justin
that
Timberlake. Hold on. Unfortunately, Justin Timberlake doesn't have the standing to make as much of an impact as another influential NFL player. He just
okay?
doesn't.
But doesn't that mean something to you that the fact that he was able to kneel on the flag on the field and they cut away from him while he was doing his kneeling, while he was doing his protest and his solidarity movement? Doesn't that mean anything? The fact that he did it?
Sort of. It just doesn't have the same
Oh,
impact.
here we
We're
go.
talking about black players taking a stand to be treated equally
All right.
as white players and just white Americans.
All right,
Okay?
you want to talk about black players, you want to talk about being equal, all
Yep.
that stuff. So During the commercial controversy of the Super Bowl, one of the number one controversial ads was for the Ram truck in regards to the Martin Luther King speech that he gave regarding unity, regarding come.
Service.
Go
Service,
ahead.
yeah.
If you already know it, go ahead.
No, I know it. I did my research. I looked into it further just to
She
make sure
did
I
her
knew what I was
research.
talking about. Ultimately, what it boils down to is there was a piece of Martin Luther King's speech that was related to service, related to how we can be the best for ourselves and our community, related to service. And there were a lot of little clips within what ended up being a truck commercial about service. And ultimately, it ended up being, let's sell trucks.
Right.
Let's say that this truck is great for doing lots of things that could be related to service.
Right.
Um, which was disappointing. It was to some appalling that you would use this man's legacy, use his voice and his words and his influence to literally all you did was sell trucks. It's not even like they were promoting service with these vehicles.
I'm with
It's
you.
not even like they were showing people using these vehicles to be of service of others. They were showing doctors and they were showing first responders and they were showing firemen doing their jobs. And then at the end of it, it's like, buy this truck.
So, do you agree with the fact that there's such a thing as devil's advocate?
I mean, it exists.
Okay, so I'm going to be that right now. Devil's advocate is that speech was made so long ago. It was a 50-year anniversary to the date that it was given. That wouldn't it only be right that we give that speech and we resonate that same tone and we remind people of what Dr. King stood for. And
To
you know
sell
what?
trucks?
It's
To
not to
sell
sell truck,
trucks?
not to
But
sell truck.
that was the commercial. This was an ad to sell trucks.
It
That's what
was.
it boils down to. And
It
if
was.
you're if we're all being honest with ourselves, it was a bunch of clips of people being of service to others through their jobs, potentially through volunteer work, using the voice of a person who focused on being of service to others, who was
But
against violence, who was against war,
right.
saying the best thing you can do is be of service. And then at the end, the message was, buy my truck.
Okay, but I'm
What?
saying though, we still heard the voice though. And without that ad, would people have heard that voice? Yes or no? The answer is no.
Oh,
It's
no.
rhetorical. No, they wouldn't have.
Sure, maybe the answer is no, but that doesn't make it appropriate for you to use this guy's words to sell your trucks. If Budweiser used his words, if freaking I don't
Well,
know,
let
a
me give you
diaper commercial. I mean,
let me
you
give you
gotta
hold on, hold on,
think
hold on,
about
babe.
context.
Babe, let me give you this example. And this is something I'll talk to my man. Shout out to I know he's not watching, but shout out to my man Marshall. I gave this and my man Eric. I know I gave this example. I said, what if they use the I have a dream speech to promote the sleep number bed?
You would have had the same response. You would have
No,
had the
I
exact
would have
same
had a
response.
problem with that because I would have been like, it's a sleep number bed. Like we're talking about a
How do you not
bed
have an issue with us talking about trucks? What makes
because
trucks better
because
than beds?
because it wasn't about trucks. The whole ad was about
What?
helping people and showing unity and showing camaraderie. And then
Okay,
at
so
the
if it
end,
was about beds, what if it was about being in the place where you have big dreams? Like you
what
can
is
spin it
that
any
though?
way that you want to. If you're
Oh,
sitting in a conference room
here you
as a
go.
marketer, it just happens to be a coincidence that this speech is coming up on this 50 years you said?
Yes,
20 what 50
50th
it's
year.
so
Yes,
so you just happen to be the first person to recognize that it's been 50 years since this speech to the day. You're like, "Okay, we got to find a way to use this." You're not
yes.
even using it in context. So that's just you being a genius marketer. That's not you being somebody who's conscious of what those words meant and what it's in relation to.
All I'm saying
You're just
is,
doing your job and you're buying ad space. And then ultimately when it comes down to it, if you want to have a commercial about service, why don't you use the millions of dollars that you spent for that 30-second ad and be of service with it? Why don't you do that if you want to tout service using words of a dead man who died for the rights of his countrymen? Why don't you use it for service? Why don't you do something that's in the name of this person and then talk about that and encourage other people to be of service in the name of this man?
okay,
It
so
is deplorable what they did.
Dog, okay, babe, I'm
Yeah.
not. All right, fine,
Like,
fine.
give me a break. You trying to sell trucks? God.
Thinking Out Loud podcast. It's your boy Jay Lip. This is how it goes down with the Thinking Out Loud. And when people come here and they don't respect the argument and they just throw anything at the wall, all I'm saying is this: Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., he had many words that he shared with the people. But there's
Hmm.
not a lot of words that are being shared right now. So if there's anything that can be shared and is shared with the people, why are we complaining about it?
Excuse me?
Why are we complaining about it?
Why are
If he
we
was
complaining
selling
about the
trucks
fact that they
or
are
if he was selling
disrespecting his legacy?
if
That
he
they are
was
boiling
selling
down this man's life to being able to sell a
so
product?
if he
Is
was
that
selling
what you're asking me?
I'm not asking you, I'm making a statement. It sounds like a question. It's not. I'm asking a question that's rhetorical.
So since we don't have any black leaders leading our civil rights movement, we should be able to use our ancestors to just sell products
You know
because we're
what?
not in an active civil rights movement right now. Is that where your statement is coming from? Is that what you're trying to convey to the
Nah, you
people?
know what? I'm not trying to convey anything because you know what? You got that. You got that.
I know.
You
I
know,
know.
you got that.
I got
So
it.
with that being, I wish. Hold on one second. I just, God, yeah. I hope it's tasty. I
It's
hope it's
delicious. It's
tasty.
so good.
So speaking of ads, we also had the ad with the little babies,
Hmm.
narrated by Kerry Washington, where it talked about
Yes.
the different races and the different genders, and it had
Hmm.
the babies in the little array, and
So
it was
cute.
like, oh, it was so cute,
So
and
cute.
so. And then at the end of that ad, she never forgot to mention the fact that you can grow to love who you love.
Yep.
How do
By
you
the way,
feel?
she said a lot of other things.
Oh, she
Said
did.
a
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We can get
lot
up.
of other
Oh,
things.
oh yeah. You know, women equality, equal pay, misogyny, dudes ain't shit. Blah blah blah.
That
Okay.
that's
So,
not that's not what she said. Did you
well,
listen to
I'm just going through the whole litany of shit that you got to get through to get to what we talking about. So,
Let's just get through misogyny. Okay.
just everybody's
Get through
bad.
it.
You know, just men are
It's not what
bad.
she said. It's not what she said.
What did I say?
I said that's not what she said.
Okay. What did
She
she
was
say?
talking the message was that babies are clean slates and ultimately we learn bias
Okay.
and that these babies have an opportunity to grow up in a world where they can be whomever they want to be, love
Right.
whomever they want to love,
Right.
and just be contributing members to society. She's just
Right.
saying babies are clean slates.
Okay. All right, so we get to the point back to what I was saying, which is at the end she said, and you can grow to love who you love.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that when it comes to the perception that that's an insinuation of promotion of any type of sexuality?
It's not
Go.
promotion of any type of sexuality. If anything, it's saying, do you, boo boo, do whatever you want. I'm not promoting
What is, well,
anything.
hold on,
If
babe.
you
What the fuck
love,
is do you boo boo?
do you is when you grow up and you fall in love with whomever that happens to be, you should be able to do that. It's not saying that baby's going to grow up to love somebody of the same sex, of the opposite sex, of somebody who doesn't even identify with a particular sex. It could be anyone. They're saying
Okay.
you can love literally anyone. It's not a promotion of any type of sexual orientation. And if people assume that it was, they have biases that they've developed over time.
Are
It's
you serious right now? Are
yes, I
you
am
seriously
serious.
implying that
Um,
she's not encouraging the fact that you can
she's just saying
love who
do
you
whatever the hell you want because
okay
you're
and
a
doing
baby.
whatever
And
the
if
hell
you're taught that there are certain people you shouldn't love, that's something that you're taught. You as a
dog
baby don't you as a baby are not inbred with the idea that you should only love somebody of the opposite
dog
sex.
okay, all right, that's
Go
how you feel. Are you done? Is it my turn?
ahead. Go
All right,
crazy.
all right. So with that being said, oh, here she go. Just let me talk.
I just need to sip my tea. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay, so look, if you are perpetrating a initiative or an initiative that says you can love who you want to love, there's a certain agenda behind that. And my only point is to say that that agenda is blatant. So, with all that being said, can we agree that there was an agenda behind that statement?
I
Can,
think the agenda is that people shouldn't
no, I
be.
didn't ask you what
Oh
it was.
God.
Do we agree that there was an agenda? Yes or
I think
no?
what you're suggesting as an agenda is not what I'm going to agree to.
I don't
What you're
want you to
suggesting
agree
as
to
an
it.
agenda is promoting homosexuality. I think that's what you're
No, I
saying
have no
without
problem.
saying
I
it.
have no problem with that. What I'm saying is, was there an agenda with that statement? Yes or no?
Sure. Yeah, you can say
Okay.
that there was. The agenda was do whatever the hell you want. That's what it was.
I
It
can't.
was
I
you're a
can't.
baby, and if you get the opportunity to have the space around you to fall in love with whomever you want to, do it then.
All right, fine. All right, fine. Um,
I mean, I don't know what
let
else is there to it.
no. Okay,
It's not even like you. It's
you
not.
agree there's an agenda though, and that's the problem. There's an agenda.
There's an
There's an
agenda in every
initiative.
single ad that played
No,
at that
there's
Super Bowl.
no,
Every
there's
single one of
not.
them was trying to get you to do something.
Babe,
Every
stop,
single one
stop.
of them was
Where
trying to get
was
you to do
okay?
something
What
or
agenda?
feel something or
Okay,
agree to something.
okay.
That's what an ad does. It's a call
I
to
agree with
action
you.
for
I
you to
agree
spend
with
your
you.
time or your resources or your talents
I agree
on
with
something.
you.
That's what
Right.
ads
Yeah.
are.
Where was the agenda that talked about empowering black people?
I don't know.
Yeah,
What are you
you don't
asking
know
me?
because it didn't happen. You just said that there's an agenda for everything except for
I
the
didn't say that
empowerment.
every agenda was represented. I didn't say that. I
Oh
said
my
every
God.
single ad had an agenda, not that every
You know
agenda was
what? I gotta
represented.
congratulate you. Your moonwalk is amazing.
My
Like your
moonwalk.
moonwalk is
Okay.
amazing. Cause you just said that there's an agenda for everything, and
And I still
everybody heard
stand
it.
by that
Look, look,
statement.
look! I got these
I,
speakers on. Everybody heard you say that,
yeah,
but then
yeah.
you said, "Well, no, I'm not saying that. There's
No,
an
I
agenda."
never said that I wasn't saying that. I still completely stand behind my statement that every ad has an agenda. Another statement that I said was not every agenda is represented. There wasn't an agenda, as far as I could see, related to pro-blackness. I would completely agree with that. Unless
Okay.
there were like some, I don't
No,
remember if
it's
there were
not
Black Panther
unless there
commercials.
wasn't.
Listen, hold on a second. Unless there were Black Panther commercials, I can't remember if there were or not because there were a lot of
The
commercials.
Black
If there was a
Panther
Black Panther
is
commercial,
not
I feel
a
like every
pro-black
single one.
initiative. I'm sorry.
Ugh.
It's
Yes,
a
it is.
movie. It's a movie
It's
about a superhero. Come
how
on.
okay, okay, hold on,
Chill
because I feel
out.
like we're getting off topic.
No,
But
chill out. Chill out.
how can you ever suggest that a Black Panther commercial is not a conversation about a pro-black
It
initiative?
can be a conversation, but you can't say that it's a part of an agenda to
It absolutely is part
incentivize.
of
No, it's
an
not. No,
agenda.
it's not. No,
You
you
finally
asked. Well, hold
have
on, hold
a
on. You asked
Marvel
me a
movie
question. Hold
that
on,
is
hold on.
a
You asked.
mostly black
Hold on, hold
cast,
on. You asked
including
me a
a
question.
oh my
You
gosh,
can't.
you
We
are
can't do this
killing
if
me,
you go.
bro. You are
You can't
killing
ask
me
me
today.
questions and I can't answer.
No, go ahead. Go
Okay,
ahead,
so
please.
it's not an agenda that's
That
based
entire
off
movie
of an
is an agenda for the
initiative.
pro-black
No, it's
community.
not.
The
It's a Marvel
whole
comic
movie.
movie. Man, you know what? Thinking out loud, it's your
What?
boy Jay Lip. I hope y'all enjoy y'all tea tonight.
My
We
tea
had
was
one more
delicious.
topic, but your girl, she acting. She acting right now.
Am I? Is that
Yes.
true?
Yes, you
Okay.
are. Because that's not what I was saying. And if you're not gonna let me talk, then
No,
we could cut it
go
off
ahead.
now.
Go ahead and talk. What's your point?
Okay,
What's your point?
my last point was make me forget my last damn point. See, and
Exactly.
that's what I'm talking.
Exactly. Yeah, of course you got it. 'Cause I have a feeling it wasn't a very strong point that you
It
can't
was
even remember.
about
But that's
Raven
cool.
Simone and her making them comments about the black successful rappers and artists who have made their success, their millions, their fortune, their fame based off of the lyrics about raping women, misogyny, killing other
Hmm.
black men, selling drugs to the community, blah, 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 blah. So my last topic was to you, do you agree or disagree with Raven Simone's sentiment? As a and let me make sure I make it clear. Raven Simone has made it known that she's not black,
Right.
but she's an American.
She makes it so hard to sympathize with her. She really does. Because I feel like to a degree I see where she was coming from. It's unfortunate that you can have the subject matter you do in music and continue to make the kind of money that you do, because it doesn't move our culture forward for us to
True.
talk about guns and drugs and misogyny and hoes and hurting people. On the other hand, Raven Simone is not the proper mouthpiece to be communicating
Not at all.
how our black leaders should look
Nah,
or
not at
how our
all.
black influencers should look. She
Wait a minute.
just
Did we
so
just? Well,
so
hold on. Did we just agree? Because that shit's
to
fucking me up right
we
now.
we agreed like halfway. Only
Okay.
halfway, if
Oh,
that makes you
okay.
feel better.
Because
We only
I
agreed
don't want to agree
halfway.
with you 100%. So
Right. Just
half.
50%. Don't
Okay. Go
worry.
ahead. Go
We
ahead.
didn't all the way agree.
Go ahead.
So this is my issue. And I feel like unfortunately Raven finds herself almost on the same side as these men, because her issue is they've said things
Hold
and
on. What you
done
mean
things.
these men? What's these
Listen,
men?
listen. I'm talking about the men that she was talking about. These wealthy black rappers, retired rappers,
And let me make
wherever
sure
on the
for the
side that
people,
they.
just for the people know, because we about to close it out. Diddy, Jay Z, Ti,
I know Trey
Chance,
Songz had some
Kanye,
things to say
Trey
about it
Songs.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
all
she had some
yeah.
things to say about all of the people that went to this brunch.
Right.
And they took all of these pictures in all their fancy
Right.
suits with all of their wealth,
Right.
obviously. So unfortunately, I feel like Raven ends up finding herself on the same side of this issue as these men, because she has things in her past that she's done, that she said, that do not move our culture forward. A culture that she's basically decided she doesn't even identify with. So how can you judge someone when basically you've done similar things? Maybe you haven't had music about hurting and raping people, but you basically said, I don't even identify as black. I don't identify as anything. I can't. So you basically say, I can't, you can't take my opinion on the culture as any part of fact, because I don't even identify with the culture.
Exactly. I agree.
Yeah.
50%. The other
Just
50%,
50%.
just 50%, 49% actually, because in the majority of my righteousness, in my opinion, I'm sorry, did you say something? I
No,
couldn't.
no, no. I'm just
I
listening.
thought the
Go
mic
ahead. Go
dropped.
ahead. No,
Um,
it's fine.
when it comes to my opinion on that, I do agree with the 49% that she doesn't have a place to speak on that. However,
Sure.
I will say that the thing that's missing is these are individuals who have benefited from a lifestyle, I will say, or a entertainment portrayed lifestyle that perpetuated the detriment of their community. And with that
Right.
being said,
Right.
that's just the fact of the matter. I remember being a young man, and I don't hate to say it, but I used to listen to each and every one of them
Mm-hmm.
wanting to live that lifestyle. When you
Sure.
see yourself working like myself at Burger King on Southfield and 13 Mile, and you flipping burgers for 7.47 an hour, and you see
Yeah.
somebody pull up in the drive-through in a caddy with
Sure.
a stack of cash, a couple girls with them,
And they
and
bumping like Money Cash Hoes or
oh my
something.
God,
It's
no, or something
like I get
even
it.
worse. If you bumping Rubber Band Man, like
Sure.
I
Yeah.
never knew what a
I
Rubber
remember
Band
all of
Man
it.
was until Ti. Like
Yeah.
I
Because you got so much
understand,
money that you have to
right?
wrap it in a rubber band. Like,
Exactly.
uh,
So there's some truth to that. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So you know,
Yeah.
I
And
can
unfortunately, I see where she's coming from, because she's suggesting that when they were making their music, they were speaking to young, impressionable people within our
absolutely,
culture, and it
yeah,
wasn't encouraging for us to make positive, for some of us at least, to make positive steps and move our culture forward. And
right.
and and I get what she was trying to say. She was just the wrong person to
I
say it.
think right. She's out of place,
She
and we
is,
out of time.
and it's
So
her
with
own
that being,
fault.
nah,
Okay, okay, okay.
right, it's her own fault. So
All right.
enjoy your tea, Mama. I love you. Thank you,
Love
baby.
you too.
Thinking out loud. TOLpodcast.com. I want to give Mrs. Lip one more chance to plug what she's doing right now. Go ahead,
Sure.
babe.
So if you are a crocheter, aspiring crocheter, creative person of any kind, visit tlyarncrafts.com for my brand new merch and crochet patterns. And by Valentine's Day, you can visit tlycblog.com for free patterns, creative business advice, and just really pretty pictures.
All right. And with that being said, again, go to TOLpodcast.com. I don't care. Do you got iTunes? Go there and
Yeah.
listen to it. If you got Google Play, just
Yeah.
go there and listen to it. If you got YouTube, my nigga,
Yeah.
go to YouTube and listen to it. And if you ain't got none of that, just come find somewhere or find a friend because somebody should know. This is Thinking Out Loud. Your boy Jay Lip, your girl Mrs. Lip, and if you don't do this shit with me, I swear to
I
God.
will. I will. I will. I will. I'm ready.
One, two, three,
We out. Oh,
and
come on,
oh
man.
my
You messed me
God.
up. You already did that. Okay,
Okay,
you do it. Go ahead.
we do it together. One,
Okay.
two, three, and
And
we
we out.
out.
I tried. I tried my best.
You tried your best. God damn.
Bye.
Bye.